मंगल ढिलोन चैनल एक ऐसा चैनल जो आपका जीवन बदल सकता है, जैसे अब तक बहुतों का जीवन बदल चुका है। मंगल ढिलोन चैनल।
This film Khalsa has been produced with the cooperation of the Government of Punjab and due permission from the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee. This film is dedicated to the Sikh Guru Sahiban, the great Sikh martyrs and the entire Sikh community on the sacred occasion of the tricentenary celebrations of the birth of the Khalsa. Its aim is not to entertain anybody but to pay homage to the history of the Khalsa and to share it with the whole of mankind.
एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भय निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी
The Khalsa is of Almighty God and to God the victory. We extend a hearty welcome to the entire audience present here. On this sacred occasion of the ongoing tricentenary celebrations of the birth of the Khalsa, we have also come to offer our film based on the actual Khalsa history to participate in the collective jubilation of the entire Sikh community. Before showing this film, we wish to share with you some of our feelings regarding the real aim of making this film. We hope that you will like this humble attempt of ours to share the history of the Khalsa with the whole of mankind, because our attempt is completely pure and it is entitled Khalsa. In fact, this film is dedicated to all the Guru Sahiban, the great Sikh martyrs, worshippers, ascetics, devoted followers, as well as the entire Sikh community, and that is why the purpose of this film is not to entertain anybody like a typical Bollywood or a regular Punjabi film. Its aim is to pay a tribute to the great history of the Khalsa and to share it with the whole of humanity, since the glorious Sikh cultural heritage is full of countless great sacrifices. A special kind of devotion, dedication and sensitivity will be required to see this film. So it is our humble request that if anyone has come here in the hope of regular film entertainment due to some confusion or mistake, then he or she may kindly leave before the start of this historical film, so that afterwards it should not lead to any kind of disappointment on either side. Because there is nothing imaginary in this film of ours. Whatever is there is only the true Khalsa history in brief. And to present it in a film format, it is far more difficult and challenging than making a regular fictional film. It is specially so because it is forbidden in Sikhism to present the Sikh Gurus or any great personality related to them through actors on screen. Therefore, we have tried to present the Sikh history on the screen through paintings of the Sikh Gurus and by showing actual historical places. In spite of religious and many other limitations of this kind regarding the filming as well as historical controversies, we have tried our best to present the great Khalsa history on quite a large scale according to our ability, capacity and limited resources and time. While viewing the actual Khalsa history, picturized on this scale for the first time, you will not only have a glimpse of the great history of the Khalsa, but you will also see most of the historical Gurdwaras connected with Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji. According to our humble thinking, understanding and research, if the Khalsa history is not to be repeated again, then there is a great need of showing it to the whole world again and again, so that every Sikh who is an heir to such a unique history, which is soaked in rivers of blood and full of countless sacrifices and martyrdom, can thus claim the pride of place, status, right, respect and honor which are due to them not only from today but also since many centuries. And to get their rightful place, the Sikhs had to transform themselves from the extremely humble Sikhs of Guru Nanak Dev Ji into the brave saint soldiers of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Through this historical film of ours, we have tried to document the Sikh history, which is full of sacrifices, with the help of descriptive paintings into a truthful historical testimony that will put to shame not only the petty politics of today, but also many past centuries of inhuman injustices. Wherever Guru Sikh comes face to face with this matchless and proud historical heritage, he should be overwhelmed with pride and experience the honor of the Sikhs rising to great heights. Whenever time will sit in judgment and turn the pages of the history of India, which is soaked in the blood of devout Sikhs, perhaps then only the real price and true value of each drop of every Sikh's blood will be realized. The blood that has been shed from the beginning till today for our motherland, religious faith, and to protect the self-respect of humanity. The Khalsa is of Almighty God, and to God the victory.
सो प्रतिष्ठित आगे खालिसा सो नाम रत लागे खालसा सोए गुरु हित लावे, खालसा सोए सारे मुँह खावे। खालसा 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 खालसा। खालसा सो निर्धन को पाले, खालसा सोए दुष्ट को गाले। खालसा 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 खालसा।
In the 15th century, the Indians were degraded by the atrocities of the foreign invaders, and the whole of humanity was trapped in various kinds of darkness. At that time, Guru Nanak Dev Ji initiated a unique path of Sikhism to give an equal and even status to the whole of humanity through his teachings. He went on 4 long journeys in 4 different directions and inspired the lost and confused humanity with his true spiritual knowledge to follow the truthful and unique path of Sikhism. And keeping alive this flame of inspiration, Guru Angad Dev Ji, Guru Amar Das Ji and Guru Ram Das Ji continued to spread this light of spiritual inspiration for the whole of mankind who were engulfed in various kinds of darkness. They showed the right path of worshipping and realizing the true Lord in the light of Sikhism. Following the same path, Guru Arjan Dev Ji founded Shri Harmandir Sahib and installed the Holy Guru Granth Sahib in it. And instead of giving in to the tyranny of the government of that time, which was blinded by religious fanaticism, he underwent unbearable tortures and sacrificed his life while remaining true to the principles of Sikhism and living up to his words and deeds. As a result of this, Guru Hargobind Ji began to wear 2 swords and propounded the principle of militarism and saintliness, and to protect eternally the spiritual light of Sikhism, he founded the Akal Takht Sahib and gave a befitting reply to the attacks of the fanatic and mighty opponents of the Guru Ghar by winning many battles, thus giving a practical shape to the principles of Miri and Piri forever. Whereas Guru Har Rai Ji carried on the tradition of the previous Gurus and spread far and wide his grandfather Guru Hargobind Ji's principles of Miri Piri amongst the Sikhs. And Guru Har Krishan Ji, in spite of his young age, did a great deal for the welfare of humanity during his limited lifespan. Before passing away, he said Baba Bakale, the next Guru is at Bakala, thereby directed the Sikhs to the 9th Guru. As a result, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib was traced through the efforts of highly devoted Sikh Bhai Makhan Shah Lubana. He announced that the Guru has been found. After assuming Guruship, Guru Sahib founded the town of Anandpur Sahib away from the murky and fanatical atmosphere of the times. During this time, Aurangzeb was engaged in the Deccan Wars. His religious fanaticism and narrow-mindedness became clear when he started demolishing the Hindu temples and schools throughout India to gain political mileage. He strictly banned all the ceremonies and rituals of the Hindus and ruthlessly started their forcible conversion to Islam.
हमने तवील ज़हनी जद्दोजहद और कश्मकश के बाद ये फैसला किया है कि हिंदुस्तान की सरजमीन पर मौजूद तमाम हिंदू काफिरों को इस्लाम कबूल करवाया जाए, अपनी मर्जी से या जबरन। इनकार या मुखालफत करने वालों के सरेआम सर कलम कर दिए जाएं। हमें यकीन है कि हमारे इस हुक्म को बखूबी अंजाम देने वालों को अल्लाह पाक की रहमत नसीब होगी। अल्लाह ताला के फजलो करम से उनको जन्नतुल फिरदौस में जगह मखसूस की जाएगी। आमीन।
सुम्मा आमीन।
In this way, the oppression and tyranny of the Mughal government led to a dreadful hue and cry everywhere in India. But Guru Sahib continued his visits to numerous places and kept preaching his philosophy of living and dying with honor to the frightened people. During this time, the tyranny of the Mughals was crossing all limits. At last, Pandit Kriparam led some helpless Kashmiri Brahmins and went to Guru Sahib begging for help. After listening to their appeal, Guru Sahib was lost in thought for some time. Then he announced his decision and told the Brahmins to convey this message to the Mughal rulers that if he, Guru Tegh Bahadur, embraced Islam, they too would do so willingly. Perhaps one would rarely find a similar example of such a selfless decision taken by anyone for the welfare of humanity. Guru Arjan Dev Ji had already given a new meaning to the concept of peaceful non-cooperation with his martyrdom. But Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji added a new dimension to that meaning by carrying forward the path of self-sacrifice through this decision and open invitation to the inhuman Mughal government. All such efforts made anywhere else pale into insignificance in comparison with this precedent. According to some historians, after hearing the plea of the Kashmiri Brahmins, Guru Sahib gravely commented that some great man would have to sacrifice his life to protect the oppressed people. Then Sri Gobind Rai Ji, aged about 9, told his father that nobody could be greater than Guru Sahib. And on the basis of these very words of his son, Guru Sahib sent this message of his great decision to Aurangzeb through the Kashmiri Brahmins. On receiving the message of Guru Sahib through his officers, Aurangzeb immediately issued an order to arrest Guru Sahib.
अब तो हमें सिर्फ आपके हुक्म का इंतजार है।
फौरन उस गुरु को गिरफ्तार करके उसे इस्लाम कबूल कराया जाए।
During this period, in an atmosphere of widespread terror, when Guru Sahib was busy consoling and encouraging the fear-stricken people, the Mughal officers arrested him along with some of his prominent Sikhs. And according to the directions of the Mughal rulers, as per a very well thought about conspiracy, Guru Sahib was arrested and secretly kept behind bars for many months. At last, an order of Aurangzeb from Hasan Abdal was received, and Guru Sahib was put in a cage and brought to Delhi along with his 3 Sikhs. As per Aurangzeb's instructions, the governor of Delhi and the chief Qazi told Guru Sahib to perform a miracle or embrace Islam. He refused to comply with both the instructions because he considered the performance of miracles a challenge to God and forcible conversion to Islam a tyrannical act. The rulers then decided to terrorize Guru Sahib into embracing Islam. So Bhai Mati Das ji was sawn into 2 parts in front of him. Bhai Dyala ji was boiled alive in a cauldron. Bhai Sati Das ji was wrapped in cotton and roasted alive. But these Sikhs of Guru Sahib upheld the honor of their faith, reciting the name of the true Lord, and thus sacrificed their lives. Even after seeing the inhuman and horrific death of his followers at the hands of the barbarians, Guru Sahib remained firm in his conviction. So then the cruel rulers decided to carry out the final instruction of Aurangzeb. There was a strict order to behead Guru Sahib publicly and to hang the pieces of his body in the 4 corners of Delhi.
कि तुम जहांपना के हुक्म की तामील करो।
सुनो सुनो सुनो, अगर किसी ने भी उनके जिस्म के टुकड़ों को छूने की कोशिश की तो उसका भी वही अंजाम होगा।
At last, Guru Sahib was brought out in broad daylight and in the presence of a very large crowd at Chandni Chowk. He was very cruelly beheaded.
तिलक जंजू राखा प्रभुता का, कीनो बडो कलू में साका। तिलक जंजू राखा प्रभुता का, कीनो बडो कलू में साका। साधन हेत इति जिन करी, शीस दिया पर सीना उचरी। साधन हेत इति जिन करी, शीस दिया पर सीना उचरी। धर्म हेत साका जिन किया, शीस दिया पर सिर न दिया। शीस दिया पर सिर न दिया। शीस दिया पर सिर न दिया।
In this way, to protect the honor of Hindustan, Guru Sahib sacrificed his life. This grave atrocity was committed in front of countless people of the same Hindustan and in broad daylight, but all of them remained mute spectators. Perhaps the fear of the royal proclamation had turned their blood into water. At last, seeing the body of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib lying unclaimed amidst such a large crowd of cowards, nature itself felt ashamed at this inhuman situation, and to shield the unclaimed body of the protector of Hind lying at Chandni Chowk from further humiliation, covered everything with a fierce dust storm, and taking advantage of the cover of dust, Arangreta Sikh, Bhai Jeta Ji, picked up Guru Sahib's head and left for Anandpur Sahib. And Bhai Uda Ji, with the help of Bhai Lakhi Shah, secretly took away Guru Sahib's body to his house, where he cremated it by setting his house on fire along with all his possessions. When Bhai Jeta Ji reached Anandpur Sahib with Guru Sahib's sacred head and described the heart-rending scene of Guru Sahib's martyrdom, while pointing out the cowardly act of all the Sikhs present there, hearing this, Guru Gobind Rai Ji embraced him warmly with a blessing, "Rangrete Guru ke bete, the so-called low-caste people are the sons of the Guru." Thus he granted him an exalted place which is deserved only by true Sikhs like Bhai Jeta and Bhai Uda Ji. In Chandni Chowk, Delhi, this historical Gurdwara Seesganj Sahib is situated at the very place where Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib in November 1675 made this unique sacrifice and gave a new meaning to the concept of self-sacrifice in the history of mankind. This Gurdwara Rakabganj Sahib is situated at the place where Guru Sahib's body was cremated, and it inspires us to follow in the footsteps of Guru Sahib till date.
चित चरण कमल का आसरा, चित चरण कमल संग जोड़िए, मन लोचे बुराइयां, गुर शब्दिए मन ओढ़िए, बाह जिनाद पकड़िए, सिर दीजे बाहना छोड़िए, गुरु तेग बहादुर बोलिया, तर पइए धर्म ना छोड़िए।
After this historical happening, Guru Sahib resolved to give a completely new identity to his Sikhs so that no one could disclaim his religion or conceal his identity ever again. Guru Gobind Sahib was born on December the 22nd, 1666 at Patna Sahib. Keeping in view the challenges that lay ahead, he started preparations at a young age to revitalize his grandfather Guru Hargobind Ji's path of Miri Piri, militarism and saintliness. Guru Sahib instructed all the Sikhs to try to make offerings of fine horses and weapons instead of money and grains according to their capacity and devotion. He wished to make the Sikhs not only spiritually enlightened but also physically strong and very brave warriors. He inspired them to participate heart and soul in horse riding, training in the use of weapons and many other martial arts. As a result of this, under Guru Sahib's patronage, for the first time in the history of mankind, a community of such brave warriors began to emerge, which could give a befitting reply to every kind of repression or cruelty, and if needed, could lay down their lives or take a life to safeguard the teachings initiated by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Sahib got a big war drum prepared and named it Ranjit Nagara, the drum of victory. It was beaten in the morning and evening to boost the morale of the Sikhs with its thundering sound. Guru Sahib maintained a perfect balance between devotion and strength and reorganized the Sikhs completely while strengthening the age-old tradition of partaking in community meals by sitting together in a row. He issued an instruction that nobody who fell prey to the feeling of high and low and refused to sit in a row to partake in the community meal would not be deemed as a Sikh. It is said that he dispelled the apprehension of some lethargic and cowardly Masans and made it clear that cowardly submission could not avert any danger. Rather, it should be every Sikh's duty to face any kind of danger holding his head high, because the solution to any danger is not bowing in front of it, but by facing it firmly. According to the historians, Guru Sahib's marriage ceremony was performed at this place near Anandpur Sahib on Baisakhi Day with Bibi Sundar Swarup Ji, the daughter of Bhai Ram Saran Das of Lahore. Thus this place is still known as Guru Ka Lahore. The ever-increasing glory of Guru Sahib and the swelling number of the Sikhs who are practicing with war weapons and martial games alarmed many hill kings. Particularly Raja Bhimchand, the ruler of Kehlur, felt in danger as Anandpur Sahib was situated in his state.
हमें अभी इसी समय से उनकी ताकत को रोकने के लिए और अपनी रक्षा करने के लिए हर संभव प्रयत्न करने होंगे।
सबसे पहले हमें
So he started hatching many conspiracies against Guru Sahib along with the neighboring hill kings.
उनके संगठन और दल बल को देखते हुए मुझे तो नहीं लगता कि हम इतनी आसानी से उन्हें खदेड़ पाएंगे।
साम दाम दंड भेद, हमें हर संभव प्रयास करना चाहिए।
और इसके बाद भी अगर हम उन्हें खदेड़ने में कामयाब ना हुए तो?
राजा साहब, अब हमारे सामने भला और क्या विकल्प बचा है?
कोई विकल्प नहीं बचा है। मेरी राय में बिना युद्ध के उन्हें खदेड़ पाना असंभव है। इसलिए अब हमारे सामने सिर्फ एक रास्ता है, आक्रमण, युद्ध।
In this way, the hill kings began their initial preparations to attack Guru Sahib. But when the king of Assam, Raja Ratan Rai, came to Guru Sahib's darbar with precious gifts to express his unlimited devotion, then this further aroused the ill feelings of jealousy and fear in Raja Bhimchand of Kehlur, who was already quite perturbed by the growing glory and prestige of Guru Sahib and the increasing strength of the Sikhs. During these days, accepting the humble request of the ruler of Nahan, Raja Medini Prakash, who had been troubled for a long time by the surrounding hill kings, Guru Sahib set out for Nahan with 500 of his Sikhs and accepted the hospitality of the king of Nahan. This beautiful place, which was selected by Guru Sahib for his stay, is still known as Paonta Sahib. At this place, Guru Sahib, along with his 52 court poets, composed many poems of a very high caliber on a vast number of topics related to heroism, which are part of the Dasam Granth Sahib, out of which Chandi Diwar and Shastra Mahima are among some of those compositions of Guru Sahib which till date can instill courage into the weakest person and inspire him to plunge into the battlefield. Guru Sahib lived at this place approximately for 2 to 3 years, and during this period, the composition of original heroic poetry and translation of old heroic literature into Punjabi was carried out, while the practice of all kinds of martial exercises were also continued side by side. During this period, a large number of new brave Sikh warriors continued to join Guru Sahib's fighting force, which greatly swelled the number of the Sikh community, and Guru Sahib's glory kept spreading. Here at this place, Pir Buddhu Shah of Sudhaura came to Guru Sahib along with 500 Pathan soldiers to get them inducted into Guru Sahib's army, as Aurangzeb had expelled them from his army. It is said that at this place, during his stay, Guru Sahib removed the old rivalry between the rulers of Nahan and Srinagar and brought about a reconciliation between both of them. But Raja Bhimchand of Kehlur, who had already been looking for an opportunity to take revenge against Guru Sahib, could not tolerate his ever-increasing influence. So he concocted some lame excuses and attacked Guru Sahib with the help of the armies of some other hill kings. As a result, a fierce battle was fought at the place of Bangani, in which all the 500 Pathan soldiers inducted by Pir Buddhu Shah defected to the enemy side in the greed of higher wages offered to them by the hill kings. On learning of this, Pir Buddhu Shah, along with his 4 sons, 1 brother and 700 followers, came to help Guru Sahib in the battle of Bangani. At last, after both the sides suffered heavy losses, the army of the hill kings had to flee from the battlefield. In this way, Guru Sahib's army won the first victory in this first battle fought at Bangani. Where this battle was fought and won, this Gurdwara Bangani Sahib is situated at that very historical place. After the battle of Bangani, Guru Sahib, with a view of meeting future challenges, on his return, started the construction of 5 forts: Anandgarh, Taragarh, Fatehgarh, Lohgarh and Holgarh around Anandpur Sahib. It was due to these 5 forts that today's Anandpur Sahib was protected from all aspects during those times, and a befitting reply was given to all the invaders. In an atmosphere which was laden with atrocities of the Mughals and the anti-Guru Ghar conspiracies of the hill kings, Guru Sahib sensed the possibility of impending war and so he started increasing the number of the Sikh army while giving greater importance to war preparations and military exercises. The king of Kehlur, Raja Bhim Chand, got scared, particularly due to the construction of forts around Anandpur Sahib, the stepped-up military preparations, and the ever-increasing strength of the Sikhs. He was still smarting due to the humiliating defeat at Bhanghani and started making new plans to put an end to the growing power of Guru Sahib. But seeing his evil designs bearing no fruit, he then acted upon the advice of his ministers and decided to compromise with Guru Sahib for the sake of his own betterment.
हमारा ये हुक्मनामा जम्मू के सूबेदार मियां खां तक पहुंचा दिया जाए।
During this time, as per the orders of Aurangzeb, the governor of Jammu, Mian Khan, sent his general Alaf Khan to collect taxes forcefully from the hill kings. But all the hill kings diverted Alaf Khan to Bhim Chand, saying that if their leader Bhim Chand agrees to pay the taxes to the Mughal government, then all of them would follow suit.
असंभव।
On the other side, Bhim Chand flatly refused to pay any tax to Alaf Khan, thinking that if today he agreed to pay taxes to the Mughal government out of fear, then their demands would keep on increasing in the future. Therefore, to confront the Mughal government, he sent an application full of humble pleadings for military help through a royal messenger to Guru Sahib's Darbar, as a result of which Guru Sahib once again agreed to help him, maintaining the noble tradition of the Sikh Guru Sahiban. But in the meantime, the other hill kings agreed to pay the tax, and after joining hands with Alaf Khan, they attacked Bhim Chand with a large force. Finally, under Guru Sahib's able command, a fierce battle was fought and the invaders had to flee from the battlefield. After this victory under Guru Sahib's benevolent eye, the military power of the Sikhs began to increase more rapidly. Seeing this, not only the hill kings who were already feeling endangered, but also the governor of Punjab, Dilawar Khan, began to feel threatened, and to collect tax from Guru Sahib, he sent an army of 11,000 soldiers under his son's command, instructing him to ransack Anandpur Sahib in case Guru Sahib resists or refuses to pay the tax.
तो आनंदपुर शहर को लूट कर अपना हिसाब चुकता कर लेना। जाओ, फतियावी तुम्हारे कदम चूमे।
On hearing of the advance of such a large army, many residents of Anandpur Sahib fled the city, but Guru Sahib's army on the bank of the Sutlej fought a fierce battle against the army of Dilawar Khan, and ultimately the badly defeated Mughal army had to flee from the battlefield. To avenge this defeat, Dilawar Khan sent one of his bravest and most senior general, Hussain Khan, along with a very large force to attack Anandpur Sahib. As a result of this, Bhim Chand and the other hill kings got so frightened that they not only agreed to pay tax to Hussain Khan, but also extended military support to him.
जिसे हम लोग कभी भी मुकर नहीं सकते। जैसा आपने कहा था वैसा ही लिखा है।
बहुत खूब, बहुत खूब।
But the king of Guler, Raja Gopal, refused to pay the amount of tax demanded by the Mughal government.
हमसे इस तरह कर मांगने का उन्होंने साहस कैसे किया?
In reply to this, Mughal General Hussain Khan decided to deal with him first before attacking Guru Sahib.
तो सबसे पहले उसी से निपटना होगा। उसके बाद उस गुरु से भी निपट लेंगे।
Under such circumstances, at the request of Raja Gopal for military assistance, Guru Sahib sent his army to help him. It is said that with the help of Guru Sahib's army, a fierce battle was fought in which the ruler of Kangra and the Mughal general Hussain Khan both were killed, and Bhim Chand had to flee from the battlefield. At last Raja Gopal won a victory, and he gave the credit for this to Guru Sahib and the Sikh army, and he became Guru Sahib's follower forever. During this period, a famous Brahmin of Banaras, Keshav Das, heard of the great glory of Guru Sahib and came to him claiming to have the power to reveal the goddess Chandi in flesh and blood.
गुरु महाराज, आप इस ब्राह्मण का विश्वास कीजिए। मैं अपने जप, तप और हवन की शक्ति से युद्ध की देवी चंडी को प्रकट करवा सकता हूं और ऐसा वरदान दिलवा सकता हूं कि आपकी युद्ध में कभी भी हार नहीं होगी, सदैव जीत ही जीत होगी। यदि आपको मुझ पर विश्वास नहीं, तो आप मुझे और मेरी विद्या को परख सकते हैं।
To test this claim of Keshav Das and on the insistence of the Sikhs, Guru Sahib unwillingly, just for the sake of his followers, permitted Pandit Keshav Das to perform the fire worship. But when the goddess did not appear, even after burning the holy material in the fireplace for almost 1 year, Guru Sahib asked Keshav Das the reason for the goddess not appearing. Then Pandit Keshav Das made this excuse.
सच तो यह है गुरु महाराज, देवी माँ ने मेरे स्वप्न में प्रकट होकर यह कहा है कि यदि कोई भी पवित्र महापुरुष अपनी बलि देकर देवी को प्रसन्न करेगा, तो वो अवश्य प्रकट होंगी।
After hearing this, Guru Sahib saw through him and told him, "Where will we find a more truthful and scholarly great holy man than you? Why don't you sacrifice yourself and secure the emancipation of your clan and community through the boon of the goddess? We shall also be able to have a glimpse of the goddess due to your kindness." On hearing these words of Guru Sahib, Pandit Keshav Das made an excuse that he needed to think about it overnight.
गुरु महाराज, यदि आप मुझे एक रात का समय दें तो बड़ी कृपा होगी।
On securing permission from Guru Sahib, he ran away from there, taking advantage of the darkness of night. When Guru Sahib learnt of this, he threw the whole material meant for worship into the blazing fireplace. It produced such high flames that the surrounding hills were lit up brightly. Standing in the brightness of that blazing fire, Guru Sahib unsheathed his sword, brandished it in the air and said, "This is the boon which Goddess Chandi has bestowed upon me. This is Chandika, Bhavani, Durga and Kali. It has always destroyed the demons and helped the saints." It is said that soon after this incident, when some misguided fanatics refused to sit in a row to partake of the community meal, then Guru Sahib described the great value of the fraternal congregation and said, "I have won my battles through the favor of my Sikhs. I have been able to dispense donations. My troubles have receded. My prosperity expanded. It is through their favor that I acquired knowledge, and all the enemies are destroyed. Through their favor I am exalted. Otherwise, there are millions of humble people like me." In the religious history of the world, perhaps rarely one can find such an example where a Guru gave such pride of place to the congregation of his followers and put it into practice. According to historical facts, since the martyrdom of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, the idea of giving a new identity to the Sikhs had been taking shape in Guru Sahib's mind, and now the time had come to put it into practice, so that in the future no Sikh would be able to conceal his identity from anybody, and he should be able to deal with any kind of challenge in every possible way. What should be the new form and identity of the Sikhs? Guru Sahib kept thinking and pondering over this question profoundly for a very long time, and when he recalled the attacks of the Mughals along with the treachery and jealousy of those very hill kings for the protection of whose religious faith Guru Sahib's father Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib had sacrificed his life, then he firmly resolved that the Sikhs should be given such a new distinct identity by which all the Sikhs who had already become equals, rising above all the internal differences in the past, must obliterate all the external distinctions and differences also and become equals and be united forever. They should never hesitate to make any kind of supreme sacrifice to protect the basic principles of the humble and pure path of Sikhism, prevalent from its very beginning, and they should be able to keep it completely secure by a very strong fencing of weapons. Thus, after thinking, examining and analyzing all the aspects for a very long time, when the idea of complete transformation of the Sikhs into fearless brave warriors became absolutely crystal clear, then on Baisakhi of 1699, Guru Sahib brandished his sword before a mammoth congregation and started demanding 5 heads, while announcing that if there is any such Sikh present here who is ready to lay down his head for the sake of his religion, then he should only come forward. On hearing such a demand from Guru Sahib, the congregation was perturbed at this unusual demand of their Guru. But when Guru Sahib repeated his demand once again, then one by one, 5 Sikhs came forward to offer their heads to Guru Sahib. Bhai Dayaram, a Khatri from Lahore, was the first to come forward, and he was followed by Bhai Dharamdas, a Jat from Rohtak, Bhai Himmat Ji, a cook from Jagannath Puri, Bhai Mokam Chand Ji, a washerman from Dwarka, and Bhai Sahib Chand Ji, a barber from Bidar. Guru Sahib made these 5 Sikhs wear a particular type of distinct dress who had come forward to offer their heads to him out of such a large congregation. Then Guru Sahib filled an iron bowl with the water of the river Satluj, while Mata Jito Ji put some sugar crystals into it, and after churning it with his 2-edged sword, Guru Sahib recited over it the 5 sacred verses. Thus Amrit, the nectar of immortality, was prepared, and Guru Sahib served this Amrit to those 5 Sikhs from a single bowl and declared them his 5 beloved ones, installing them as his Singhs, and founded the Khalsa. And then to equate these 5 Singhs with himself, Guru Sahib took Amrit from the hands of those 5 Singhs from the same bowl. Thus, he bestowed his own image upon the Khalsa forever.
Bole Sonihal Sat Shri Akal. 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 Bole Sonihal Sat Shri Akal.
This Gurdwara Keshgarh Sahib is situated at that very sacred place at Anandpur Sahib, where Guru Sahib had created the Khalsa on the Baisakhi festival in 1699, and till today it inspires us all to become pure and remain so forever. It was here that Guru Sahib taught an unmatchable lesson of completely doing away with all internal and external distinctions, and while forging the Khalsa out of the unalloyed steel of Sikhism, he gave a unique slogan of Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This divine echo is consistently heard till today from the holy lighthouses of Guru Sahib. 300 years ago, at this very place, at Anandpur Sahib, on the day of Baisakhi in the year 1699, after creating the Khalsa, Guru Sahib directed all the Singhs who had taken Amrit to wear 5 Ks, which were Kesh, the long unshorn hair, Kanga, a comb, Kada, a steel bracelet, Kachera, short breeches, Kripan, a sword. All the baptized Sikhs were to use the surname Singh and the women were given the surname Kaur. The use of intoxicants and stimulants like alcohol and tobacco were forbidden strictly, and all the Singhs were to worship only one invisible God, while bravery was ordained as an essential part of religion as peace and holiness. At this very place, after transforming the Sikhs into Singhs and infusing a new spirit into them, Guru Sahib issued proclamations about many momentous changes, according to which the institution of the Masans was abolished, the practice of touching each other's feet while meeting was given up, and it was replaced by greeting with folded hands, the Khalsa is of God, and to God the victory. The use of a two-edged sword replaced the old custom of touching the water with Guru Sahiban's toe before using it to prepare Amrit. Besides this, to fill the Singhs with bravery and strength in every possible way, Guru Sahib gave a color of bravery to the ancient festival of Holi and renamed it Hola Mahalla, while establishing a new tradition of playing martial games on this festive occasion. Following the way shown by Guru Sahib, even now the Singhs take part in martial games with great enthusiasm on Hola Mahalla. Under Guru Sahib's guidance, seeing the increased zeal, the practice of martial arts and the rapidly swelling number of the Singhs, the neighboring hill kings felt more insecure than before, and to curb the ever-increasing strength of Guru Sahib, they began to poison the ears of the Mughal rulers by telling them that Guru Sahib was against the Mughal rule right from the beginning. And now, after removing all the distinctions of high or low, caste or creed, through his new sect of the Khalsa, he is preparing to challenge the might of the Mughal Empire by training a large number of warriors, besides constructing many new forts at Anandpur Sahib. He is also busy in various kinds of military preparations on a very large scale.
बड़े पैमाने पर युद्ध की तैयारियां भी शुरू कर दी हैं।
At last, through the Mughal officials, the hill kings succeeded in poisoning Aurangzeb's ears against Guru Sahib. As a result of that, Aurangzeb, who was still entangled in the Deccan Wars, issued an order through the officials of Lahore and Sarhind to send the Mughal army to assist the hill kings against Guru Sahib on the condition that the entire expenditure incurred on the royal forces would be borne by the hill kings.
शाही फौज को पहाड़ी राजाओं की मदद के लिए भेज दिया जाए।
According to Aurangzeb's order, under the command of General Pande Khan and General Deen Beg, a large Mughal army along with the hill kings set out to attack Anandpur Sahib. On receiving this information, Guru Sahib appointed his Panj Pyaras as the 5 generals of his army, completed all the war preparations and decided to take part in it himself. It is said that a very fierce battle was fought near Anandpur Sahib. In spite of their small number, the Singhs pushed back the Mughal army under Guru Sahib's command. During this battle, seeing the large-scale destruction of his army, the Mughal general Pande Khan challenged Guru Sahib to a one-on-one combat.
अरे आओ! अगर अपनी बहादुरी पर इतना ही गुमान है तो मेरे सामने आओ और मुझसे मुकाबला करो। आओ! मेरे सामने आओ!
In response to this challenge, Guru Sahib confronted Painde Khan in the battlefield, and as per the Guru Ghar's war tradition, he asked Painde Khan to attack first. Seizing this opportunity, Painde Khan tried his best to hit Guru Sahib with his arrows. Ultimately, Painde Khan failed in all his attempts, but in the counter-attack, Guru Sahib killed Painde Khan with his first arrow. After this, the other Mughal general, Deen Beg, took over the command, and during this fierce battle, seeing the Singhs gaining an upper hand, the army of the Hill Kings slipped away from the battlefield, which further lowered the morale of the Mughal forces. At last, after suffering very heavy losses of men and material, the badly wounded Deen Beg had to flee the battlefield along with his army. Under Guru Sahib's command, this victory further boosted the morale of the Singhs and led to the manufacturing of various types of war weapons at Anandpur Sahib, so that even more severe damage could be inflicted on future invaders. Sensing the dangers inherent in the unity of the Hill Kings and the Mughals, Guru Sahib issued fresh instructions to his followers once again to contribute the best possible horses and weapons to the Guru Ghar, as a result of which many brave Sikh warriors joined Guru Sahib's army at Anandpur Sahib, and the contribution of horses and war weapons started pouring in. To stem the tide of Guru Sahib's increasing armed might, the Hill Kings joined hands once again and sought military help from the Mughals. They prepared a threatening letter for Guru Sahib stating that he should either evacuate Anandpur Sahib or pay the rent along with taxes for the entire populated area of the city with full arrears, while promising to make payments regularly in the future too. Otherwise, he should get ready to face the collective attack of their armies.
वरना हमारी साझी सेना का मुकाबला करने की तैयारी करें।
In reply to this threatening letter of the Hill Kings, Guru Sahib sent them this message, saying that the land on which Anandpur Sahib is situated was bought by his father, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, and only after making full payment for the land did he lay the foundation of Anandpur Sahib. So there is no question of paying any rent or tax. However, in case of an attack, he knows how to defend himself and teach a lesson to power-drunk invaders. Infuriated by this reply from Guru Sahib, the Hill Kings gathered their forces together and attacked Anandpur Sahib. But the Singhs repulsed this attack of the allied enemies while demonstrating their feats of bravery. In this way, the attacks continued for almost 2 months, but to no avail. At last, in a bid to enter the fort of Anandpur Sahib, the Hill Kings tried to use a drunken armored elephant to break down the gates of the fort. But on Guru Sahib's order, his brave warrior Bhai Bachittar Singh injured the elephant with a spear, and as a result, the elephant trumpeted with pain and turned back, trampling many hill soldiers to death. But when Guru Sahib's other valiant warrior Pai Uday Singh beheaded Raja Kesari Chand, who was leading the allied hill forces, this finally made the hill forces lose heart completely. Then the Hill Kings devised a new plan to deal with Guru Sahib. According to historians, finally the Hill Kings requested Guru Sahib, swearing in a letter not to attack him if he left Anandpur Sahib fort and went elsewhere for some time, as this would help them save face in front of their subjects.
आपके इस सहयोग के लिए हम सब आपके सदैव आभारी रहेंगे।
In spite of having no faith in the oaths contained in this letter of the Hill Kings, Guru Sahib agreed to go to a nearby place called Nirmohi for some time, in accordance to the wishes of his Singhs. So he left for Nirmohi along with a group of some Singh warriors. On receiving the information about Guru Sahib's departure for Nirmohi, the Hill Kings violated all their oaths and attacked Guru Sahib. Guru Sahib and his warriors fought valiantly and gave a befitting reply to the hill forces from a mud fortress situated on a hillock. During this fierce battle, the treacherous Hill Kings tried to shoot Guru Sahib down through a Pathan sniper. But the Pathan missed his aim and a Singh was killed in the place of Guru Sahib. During this battle, Guru Sahib killed the Pathan sniper with an arrow when he was reloading his gun. In this way, the Hill army had to lick the dust once again. After this war, the Hill Kings aligned with Nawab Wazir Khan of Sirhind and in another conspiracy mounted a surprise attack on Guru Sahib again when he was going to Basali with a few of his distinguished warriors, and once again broke all their promises while revealing their evil designs. But when Guru Sahib and his warrior Singhs gave a befitting reply to the enemy attack and crossed the river Satluj, then the Hill Kings gave precious gifts to the treacherous Wazir Khan, who was in a hurry to leave, as a token of their gratitude.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
After this breach of promise by the Hill Kings, Guru Sahib soon returned to Anandpur Sahib along with his Singhs and accepted the collective request of the Hill Kings for a reconciliation. As per the martial tradition of Guru Ghar, and in the interest of peace, he forgave them once again. As a result of which, peace was restored for some time in this war-torn area. Guru Sahib devoted this time to the preaching of spiritual sermons of Sikhism and continued military training to face any eventuality in the future. He taught the Sikhs to rise above all narrow distinctions and to treat the whole of mankind as equals. He also firmly advised the helpers in the community kitchen to regard a poor man's mouth as the Guru's charity box and to serve meals to needy people immediately without any discrimination or delay. On one side, the supreme lesson of humanism was being taught in the Guru Ghar, and on the other side, the process of conspiracies was going on unabated.
हाँ, और जब वो सब हमारे सुलहनामे के प्रस्ताव के बाद बेफिक्र हो जाएंगे,
इस बार हम उन्हें सदैव के लिए बेफिक्र कर देंगे और खुद भी बेफिक्र हो जाएंगे।
वाह, इन्होंने तो मेरे मुंह की बात छीन ली।
वाकई,
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 वाकई।
सही बोलते हैं आप।
In the entire history of Hindustan, perhaps in comparison to all the examples of jealousy, discrimination and treachery, one would not be able to find another such shameful example which could surpass the endless, double-faced and treacherous misdeeds of the Hill Kings. Because to protect their religious faith from the Mughal tyranny, Guru Gobind Singh Ji's father, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, had sacrificed his life, but the Hill Kings of the same religion, instead of cooperating with Guru Sahib collectively, were always busy in conspiring with the Mughals to destroy him. In the history of mankind, it is rare to find a similar example of ungratefulness and morally impoverished kings who sometimes bribed the Mughal generals like Said Beg and Alaf Khan to attack Guru Sahib, and sometimes they themselves attacked Anandpur Sahib with a strong army of 10,000 soldiers. But none of them ever learnt a lesson from the true realization of Mughal General Said Beg, who was so overwhelmed by Guru Sahib's spiritual glory that he became his staunch devotee forever. At last, as a result of the persistent conspiracies of the Hill Kings, who had always been hostile to the Guru Ghar from a long time, under the command of General Said Khan, a large Mughal army along with the forces of the Hill Kings attacked Anandpur Sahib in an attempt to defeat Guru Sahib. To confront such a large army, Guru Sahib had only 500 warriors with him. So he encouraged and instructed all of them that ultimately it is not the number of men or weapons, but one's heart which wins or loses a battle, and God is always with him who fights for the truth. Inspired by these words of Guru Sahib, the Sikh warriors plunged heart and soul into the battlefield. During this battle, General Said Beg, who had joined the Sikh army after becoming Guru Sahib's disciple, got treacherously killed by the Mughal General Deen Beg while fighting valiantly against the enemy alongside the Singhs. During this fierce battle, in spite of being grossly outnumbered by the Mughal army, the Singhs fought with unprecedented valor. Seeing this, the Mughal General Said Khan was beside himself with rage, and he challenged Guru Sahib to a duel. So Guru Sahib appeared before him to fulfill his desire. But when Said Khan saw Guru Sahib's radiant glory and lustrous personality, he started insisting that Guru Sahib should attack him first.
अब बेहतर यही होगा कि पहले आप मुझ पर वार करें, फिर मैं आप पर वार करूंगा.
In reply to this, informing him of the Sikh martial tradition, Guru Sahib said, "We never initiate an attack, we only retaliate. According to our tradition, if you do not attack me first, then how can I attack you?" On hearing these words of Guru Sahib, General Said Khan was overwhelmed with remorse and fell at Guru Sahib's feet. On seeing this change in Said Khan, the Mughal army launched another offensive against the Singhs under the command of another Mughal general, Ramzan Khan. It is said that in this terrible battle, both the sides suffered very heavy losses of men and material on a very large scale. According to historical facts, in spite of their small number, eventually the Singhs emerged victorious in this battle. During this time, when Aurangzeb, who was engaged in the battles of the Deccan, received the news of the defeat of such a large Mughal army, he called a meeting of his advisors and devised a new plan to deal with Guru Sahib.
आप लोगों के मशवरे के मुताबिक अगर यही मुनासिब है, हम ये भी आजमा के देख लेते हैं। आप आगे लिखिए। लिहाजा आपके लिए यही मुनासिब होगा कि आप हुकूमत के मातहत रहना कबूल कर लें और अपनी तमाम शिकायतों का हल तलाश करने के लिए हमसे आकर मिलें, वरना शाही फौज के हमले के लिए तैयार रहें।
Guru Sahib turned down this threatening invitation of Aurangzeb and sent a message to the emperor stating that I believe only in the supreme power of the timeless being. He is eternal and omnipotent. Not only I alone, but also the greatest emperor of the world is subservient to him. So there is no scope at all of any reconciliation between both of us. Though after this the process of attacks on Anandpur Sahib stopped for some time, yet Guru Sahib considered this period a lull before a fierce storm. So he carried on the armed training of the Singhs and continued preparations for war to deal with the invaders. Guru Sahib's suspicion proved completely true when Ajmer Chand, the leader of the Hill Kings, incited Aurangzeb against Guru Sahib. He succeeded in getting an order issued to attack Anandpur Sahib with a large Mughal army under the command of General Wazir Khan.
कि वजीर खान की कमान में बड़ी से बड़ी तादाद में मुगल और पहाड़ी फौज मिलकर उन पर हमला कर दें, ताकि ये मसला हमेशा हमेशा के लिए खत्म किया जा सके। हमारे हुक्म की तामील हो।
According to Aurangzeb's order, they resolved firmly to fight a decisive and final war with Guru Sahib and a very large Mughal army, along with the armies of the Hill Kings, set out to attack Anandpur Sahib. On receiving information about the offensive of such a large force, Guru Sahib ordered the Singhs to take positions at different forts and defense posts to fight valiantly against the enemy. Therefore, the Singhs mounted their cannons on the forts and finally compelled the invading enemies to change their war strategy. During this fierce battle, Bhai Kanhaiya Ji, a Seva Panthi Sikh, was on duty to serve water to the wounded warriors. He was seen serving water to the wounded warriors of both sides, irrespective of them being friend or foe. Some Singhs went to Guru Sahib and complained against Bhai Kanhaiya Ji. When Guru Sahib summoned him and inquired about the allegation, then Bhai Kanhaiya Ji replied most humbly, "My true Lord, you yourself have taught me to forget all distinctions of caste and creed, high and low, friend and foe, and to serve the whole humanity as equals. Now tell me, my Lord, what should I do? Such is my mental state, my Lord, that to whichever wounded warrior I serve water, I only see your reflection in him all the time. I see no enemy or alien in them." On hearing such humanitarian reply of Bhai Kanhaiya ji, Guru Sahib embraced him and said, "Blessed art thou, my true Sikh. You have fully understood the real essence of Sikhism." Inspired by their sense of devotion to Guru Sahib and indomitable bravery, such humanistic warriors did not allow the enemies to gain a foothold in spite of their small numbers. So the generals of the invading armies got together and planned a siege on Anandpur Sahib to cut off their supplies and provisions from outside, so that due to hunger and thirst, the Sikh army might have to either surrender to the Mughal army or feel compelled to abandon the fort.
हम हुक्म देते हैं किले की फौरन घेराबंदी कर दी जाए।
It is said that some months after the siege by the Hill and Mughal armies, gradually nothing was left to eat or drink for the Sikh army. Seeing no other alternative, some Singhs made a request to Guru Sahib that instead of dying of starvation inside the fort, they should be allowed to go out and fight against the Mughal army. But Guru Sahib was in the favor of testing the morale of the enemy forces a little longer before taking such a crucial step. At last, some Singhs could no longer bear the pangs of hunger and thirst. So they expressed their desire to desert Guru Sahib. When in spite of Guru Sahib's advice, they did not agree to stay on, then Guru Sahib said, "If you are bent upon going away, then give me in writing that from today neither am I your Guru, nor are you my Sikhs." It is said that driven by extreme hunger and thirst, a lot of Sikhs deserted Guru Sahib by giving him a written disclaimer. However, the remaining Singhs bore the suffering and remained firm in their resolve along with Guru Sahib inside the fort. As a result of this, the Hill Kings and the Mughal army generals found it impossible to capture the fort. They then wrote a message and sent it to Guru Sahib through a Brahmin appointed as their messenger, stating that the Muslims swore by the Holy Quran and the Hindus by the Holy Cow that if Guru Sahib left Anandpur Sahib fort and went somewhere else, their armies would go back without harming Guru Sahib in any way, and after that, Guru Sahib could return to the fort whenever he wished. The Singhs and Guru Sahib's mother were in favor of accepting this offer of the enemy, and due to their constant pleading, Guru Sahib unwillingly accepted the enemy's proposal. And to test this treacherous offer, Guru Sahib got some carts loaded with waste material and sent them out on a dark night. When the caravan of carts was seen moving out of the town, the Mughal army at once fell upon it. But only waste material was recovered by the enemy from the carts. After testing the treacherous enemies in this way, Guru Sahib explained once again to the brave warriors that it would be advisable for them not to venture out of the fort under the present circumstances. During this time, Aurangzeb sent a letter to Guru Sahib expressing his regret at the hateful action of his army. In his own handwritten letter, he promised with an oath on the Holy Quran to fully convince Guru Sahib that if he left the fort this time, the Mughal army would not take any step against him. On the basis of this offer from the Mughal emperor, the Sikhs, tired of hunger and thirst, along with Mata Gujri ji, pleaded strongly with Guru Sahib and made him accept this offer to leave the fort. And on a cold, dark night in December 1704, Guru Sahib divided his Singhs into different groups and left Anandpur Sahib fort along with his whole family. This time also, the Mughals violated all their vows and pursued Guru Sahib. And on the bank of the Sirsa river, where during a fierce battle against the Mughal forces, Guru Sahib's whole family got separated from him, this Gurdwara Parivar Vichoda Sahib stands at that place as a testimony of that tragic separation till today. After this separation, when Mata Gujri ji along with the two younger sons of Guru Sahib were looking for a safe sanctuary, she came across her old servant Gangu and accepted his request to stay at his home for some time in his village Khedi. In the meanwhile, Guru Sahib left most of his warriors behind to engage the Mughal forces in a fierce battle and proceeded toward Chamkaur Sahib with about 40 Singhs. After reaching there, Guru Sahib accepted the request of Chaudhry Buddhi Chand and turned his fort-like mansion into his sanctuary. When the pursuing Mughal army reached there, Guru Sahib along with only 40 Singhs gave a stiff resistance from this mansion to a large Mughal army. In this historical battle fought at Chamkaur Sahib, both the elder sons of Guru Sahib, Sahibzada Ajit Singh Ji and Sahibzada Jujar Singh Ji, in spite of their tender age, fought against the enemy with great bravery for the honor of the Sikhs and attained martyrdom.
सूरा सो पहचानिए जो दीन के हेत पुरजा कट मरा कब न छाड़े खेत कभो न छाड़े खेत कभो न छाड़े खेत।
Situated at the site of that historical battle at Chamkaur Sahib, this Gurdwara Qatlgarh Sahib stands testimony to the bravery and sacrifice of the two elder sons of Guru Sahib and the self-sacrificing Singhs. It also testifies the decisive moments faced by Guru Sahib and his Sikhs. At this very place, almost all the 40 Singhs who had accompanied Guru Sahib sacrificed their lives in the battlefield after killing a large number of the enemy and proved true the proclamation of Guru Sahib, "I make a single warrior of mine fight against 1,25,000 of the enemy's soldiers. At the historical place where this Gurdwara Gadhi Sahib is situated, on that momentous night, some Singhs who had survived the fierce battle started pleading forcefully with Guru Sahib to depart to a safer place in secret in the interest of maintaining the supreme honor of the Sikhs. But when Guru Sahib did not agree to depart at any cost, leaving behind his Singhs, at this very place, the Singhs, feeling helpless, humbly reminded Guru Sahib with folded hands of a proclamation made by him when he had baptized the first 5 Singhs. Guru Sahib had proclaimed that wherever and whenever 5 true Sikhs would gather and take a decision with pure hearts, the true Guru would be present in them, and every decision taken by those Panj Pyaras, 5 beloved ones, would be deemed as a decision of the Guru. Therefore, the Singhs present here, in the form of Panj Pyaras, unanimously took up the status of Guru Sahib and told him to leave the fortress of Chamkaur Sahib. As a result, Guru Sahib had to leave the fortress completely against his own will, leaving behind his self-sacrificing Singhs, and in the darkness of night, he set out towards the jungles of Machiwada on foot. On the other side, Gangu Pandit was tempted by the greed of a big reward from the Mughal rulers, so he decided to get Mata Gujri ji and the younger Sahibzadas arrested who were living in his house. He ignored all his past ties with the Guru Sahib's family and informed the Mughal rulers about their whereabouts.
हुजूर-ए-आला, हुजूर-ए-आला, उनकी माताजी और दोनों छोटे साहिबजादे इस वक्त मेरे ही घर में मौजूद हैं। अगर आप चाहें तो मुनासिब इनाम की रकम के बदले उन्हें अभी हिरासत में ले सकते हैं।
अगर तुम्हारी खबर सच निकली तो तुम इनाम की बिल्कुल फिक्र मत करो।
On the basis of this, the chief police officer of Sarhand arrested both the younger sons of Guru Sahib and produced them in the court of Subedar Wazir Khan. When, in spite of all temptations, duplicity and threats, the young Sahibzadas still flatly refused to embrace Islam, then the Subedar of Sarhand Wazir Khan conspired with a Muslim priest of his province and falsely declared both the Sahibzadas guilty and issued an order to publicly bury them alive in a wall of bricks. Nobody raised a voice of protest against this order except the Nawab of Maler Kotla. The officers of the Mughal government carried out this inhuman order of Wazir Khan and crossed all the limits of cruelty by burying alive both the younger sons of Guru Sahib in a wall of bricks. While even being buried alive, both the Sahibzadas remained completely unshaken in their self-confidence and faith, following the unique path of Sikhism shown by Guru Nanak Dev Ji, along with all the Sikh Guru Sahibans' way of worship, penance, renunciation and sacrifices, and by this matchless martyrdom, they added a red chapter to the history of mankind, where even the coming centuries will feel ashamed while looking back at the inhuman injustices of the past. Situated at the site of the martyrdom of the Sahibzadas, this Gurdwara Fatehgarh Sahib is a memorial to their unique sacrifice, and it inspires us all till today to remain firm like them in our religious belief. after the martyrdom of both the Sahibzadas, when this news reached Mata Gujri ji, who was imprisoned at this place in an ice-cold tower, she bowed to the sweet will of God and, following the footsteps of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib while acting upon his teachings of living and dying with honor, she left for her heavenly abode. Built at that sacred place, this Gurdwara Thanda Burj Sahib still teaches us all the lesson of living and dying honorably. On the other side, while passing through the jungles of Machiwada, at the place where Guru Sahib had stayed for some time, this Gurdwara Charan Kamal Sahib is situated, and it reminds us of the difficult and testing phase in the life of Guru Sahib till today. It was at this place where by chance Guru Sahib met Nabi Khan and Ghani Khan, the two Pathans who had become Guru Sahib's disciples after they had attended his court. It is said that some more Singhs also joined Guru Sahib here as soon as they learnt of his presence. And here in solitude, under this tree, he used a small piece of stone as a pillow and tried to share the longings of his heart with the Almighty Lord in his inimitable poetic way.
मित्र प्यारे हाल मुरीदा दा कहना मित्र प्यारे हाल मुरीदा दा कहना मित्र प्यारे मित्र प्यारे तुद बिन रोग रजाया दा ओडन तुद बिन रोग रजाया दा ओडन नाग निवास दरेड़ा नाग निवास दरेड़ा मित्र प्यारे हाल मुरीदा दा कहना मित्र प्यारे मित्र प्यारे खंजर प्याला सोल सुराही खंजर प्याला बिंग कसाया दसेड़ा बिंग कसाया दसेड़ा मित्र प्यारे हाल मुरीदा दा कहना मित्र प्यारे मित्र प्यारे यारड़ दा सानू सत्थर चंगा यारने दा सानू सत्थर चंगा पठ खेड़िया दारेणा पठ खेड़िया दारेणा मित्र प्यारे हाल मुरीदा दा कहना मित्र प्यारे मित्र प्यारे
After Guru Sahib's arrival in the jungles of Machiwada, the Mughal army which had surrounded the fortress of Chamkaur Sahib came to know of Guru Sahib's departure from there and started chasing Guru Sahib while searching for him all around. On receiving information of the hot pursuit by the Mughal army here at Machiwada, Guru Sahib had to accept the vehement request of Nabi Khan, Ghani Khan and some Singhs to leave this place in the guise of an elevated saint, Uch the Peer. In this way, Guru Sahib, disguised as a highly respected and exalted saint, sitting on a cot lifted on the shoulders by his disciples, dodged the Mughal army and after passing through Raikot and Jagraon, reached a village named Jatpura, where a Muslim Chaudhry along with many other people welcomed Guru Sahib very warmly. During this time, Guru Sahib received the heart-rending news of the martyrdom of both his younger sons. On hearing this, Guru Sahib accepted God's will with resignation and fortitude and said, "O timeless Lord, I kept them in trust for you and have returned them to you." It was here that Guru Sahib made a prophecy about the decline of the Mughal Empire. And from here, Guru Sahib reached Dina. From there, Guru Sahib wrote in Persian a historical letter, Zafarnama, the Epistle of Victory to Aurangzeb, in which he described the shameless and inhuman activities of Aurangzeb and rebuked him in very severe terms. Chun kar az hama heel te darguzasht halalast burtanba shamshir dast. It means that when after exhausting all other means, no other alternative is left, it is justified to take up a sword in hand to fight against injustice. Describing the true mentality of Aurangzeb, Guru Sahib wrote in the Zafarnama, "O King, I have no faith in your oaths because you make a promise only to violate it, which clearly proves that you do not really believe in God or the Prophet Muhammad. That is why you have been taking false oaths in every matter while making false promises and breaking them again and again. May a curse fall upon your kingdom and your false belief in God. Come to your senses. Be afraid of the wrath of that omnipotent God. His punishment is very fearful. If today, blinded by power, you have forgotten the Creator, always remember that He too will forget you on doomsday. After murdering countless innocent people, O King, you proclaim the might of the Mughal Empire from rooftops. This life is short-lived and changes the irrevocable law of life. According to it, whosoever has come here will have to depart in the end. What is filled today must be emptied tomorrow. But rulers like you, who are blinded by the vice of religious fanaticism, put an end to their empire with their own hands."
कोई बुरी खबर है आलम पना?
ये खत यहाँ तक लाने वाले कासिद को हमारे सामने हाजिर किया जाए। हम उनके गुरु से मिलना चाहते हैं।
It is said that after reading Guru Sahib's Zafarnama, depicting bold and vivid details, Aurangzeb expressed a desire to meet Guru Sahib, but his wish could not be fulfilled because of certain political and other unavoidable reasons. During this period, the Mughal army was searching for Guru Sahib all around, and to fight against them, my Pago, disguised as a man along with many other Singhs, set out from their homes to sacrifice their lives for Guru Sahib. Among these Sikhs, there were also some of those Singhs who had submitted their written disclaimer to Guru Sahib at the Anandpur Sahib fort, and now to seek forgiveness for their past blunder regarding the disclaimer, they had set out from their houses with a firm determination to do or die. When the Mughal army, while searching for Guru Sahib, reached near the pool of Khidrana, all those Singhs who had come to sacrifice themselves to protect Guru Sahib under my Pago's leadership fought valiantly till their last breath to check the advance of the Mughal army and attain martyrdom one by one. It is said that from this place, where Gurdwara Tibbi Sahib is situated, Guru Sahib had been raining arrows from a mound at the 10,000 strong Mughal army fighting against my Pago and the dauntless Singhs. At last, when Mughal army retreated in search of water, then Guru Sahib began to identify the Singhs who had sacrificed their lives to protect him, out of which only Pai Mahasingh and my Pago was still gasping for breath. Guru Sahib was overwhelmed with the bravery of his Singhs and asked Pai Mahasingh to demand any boon from him. He then begged the Guru with failing breath to grant him this request: "O true Lord, if you wish to bless us with something, I humbly request you to tear up that disclaimer before my eyes, which I and some other fallen Singhs had submitted to you at Anandpur Sahib. All of us have tried our best to wash out this blot of shame and the curse of that disclaimer with our blood." On hearing this request of Pai Mahasingh, Guru Sahib tore up the disclaimer before his eyes and blessed them with the title of 40 liberated ones. Therefore, the pool of Khidrana was renamed as Muktasar, the pool of salvation.
खालिसा मेरो रूप है खास, खालिसे में हो करो निवास, खालिसा
Situated at the holy historical site of that battle, this Gurdwara, Tutti Gandhi Sahib, indicates till today the salvation and great devotion of those 40 liberated ones. It is said that only Mai Pago survived the fierce battle fought at the pool of Khidrana. She recovered completely because of the medication given by Guru Sahib and the Singhs, and remained solely dedicated to the service of the Guru Ghar for a long time. After his departure from Muktsar, Guru Sahib arrived at Talwandi Sabo, where he stayed for about 3 years. That is why this place is known till today as Damdama Sahib, the abode of rest. During his stay at Damdama Sahib, Guru Sahib wished to procure from Tirmal the volume of the Adi Granth, which was dictated to Bhai Gurdas. But when Tirmal taunted the messenger and refused to part with the Adi Granth, then at the site of this Gurdwara, Likhansar Sahib, Guru Sahib dictated to Bhai Mani Singh the whole Adi Granth from beginning to end, including the Gurbani of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib. The volume which was written at Damdama Sahib is known as the Damdama Sahib volume, and it is also said that this volume remained with Guru Sahib till the very end, and he bestowed the status of Guru upon it. According to historians, when Mata Jito Ji and Mata Sahib Kaur Ji returned to Damdama Sahib and inquired about their 4 innocent children, then Guru Sahib said, pointing to his disciples present there, "For all these sons I sacrificed my 4 sons. So what? If 4 of them died, these thousands are alive." During the presence of Guru Sahib at Damdama Sahib, once again the Sikhs began to congregate here as they had done at Anandpur Sahib. Guru Sahib blessed this land as a seat of great learning. On the basis of this blessing, Damdama Sahib is also called Guru Ki Kashi. During his stay of nearly 3 years here, another message was received from Aurangzeb regarding a meeting with Guru Sahib. After thinking over it very carefully, Guru Sahib left for the Deccan with some Singhs to meet Aurangzeb and to accomplish some other important missions. But on the way, receiving the news of Aurangzeb's death, Guru Sahib turned back, and therefore this historical meeting could not take place. It is said that after Aurangzeb's death, a war broke out among his sons for succession to the throne. At last, Aurangzeb's eldest son, Bahadur Shah, succeeded in capturing the throne by winning the war. Though for being against his father Aurangzeb, he had already been tortured a great deal by him.
या अल्लाह मुझ पे रहम कर, इस जहन्नुम से मुझे निजात दिला मेरे मौला.
But now, to secure his rightful crown, he had to fight a war against his rebellious brother, and on Bahadur Shah's request, Guru Sahib sent military assistance to help him. As a result of this, he expressed his gratitude to the Guru Ghar and welcomed Guru Sahib warmly to the royal court, where he also gave precious gifts to Guru Sahib. But according to historians, Bahadur Shah failed to fulfill Guru Sahib's demand of giving equal status to all religions and a befitting punishment to Wazir Khan for bearing alive Guru Sahib's younger sons due to various political and religious reasons.
हम आपकी बात से मुत्तफिक हैं, मगर इस वक्त हम कुछ ऐसे सियासी और मजहबी माहौल से घिरे हैं कि आपके मशवरे को अंजाम देने के लिए हमें कुछ और मोहलत चाहिए होगी.
Guru Sahib granted his request by giving him some more time and accompanied him along with some selected Singhs to Rajputana and the Deccan. During this time, Bahadur Shah remained busy in putting down rebellion, and Guru Sahib was engrossed in preaching the ideals of Sikhism. However, when Guru Sahib realized Bahadur Shah's inner weakness at his failure to take any concrete decision on his suggestions, he then parted company with Bahadur Shah on the way to the Deccan and reached Nanded along with his Singhs. There Guru Sahib completely won over a very famous and miracle-performing recluse named Madhodas with his spiritual teachings and baptized him as a Singh and blessed him with the name of Banda Singh Bahadur. Guru Sahib gave him 5 arrows and a religious decree and sent him to Punjab along with 3 of his special Singhs. Later on, as per Guru Sahib's instructions, Banda Singh Bahadur punished all the culprits and razed Sarhand to the ground. It is said that after sending Banda Singh Bahadur to Punjab, Guru Sahib stayed on at Nanded for some time, and soon the Sikhs began to congregate here from far and wide. Thus the preaching of Sikhism continued as before. In the meanwhile, Wazir Khan, the governor of Sarhand, had begun to feel endangered by the growing closeness between Guru Sahib and the Emperor Bahadur Shah. Therefore, since a long time, he had commissioned an assassin Pathan to follow Guru Sahib very secretly.
ये रही तुम्हारी पेशगी। तुम हमेशा साए की तरह उसके पीछे रहना और मौका मिलते ही काम तमाम कर देना।
This Pathan pretended to be a devotee of Guru Sahib and often visited him on the pretext of paying his respect. Therefore, no restrictions of any kind were ever put on his visits to Guru Sahib. At last, taking advantage of the trust reposed in him, one day the Pathan escaped the vigilant eye of Guru Sahib's attendants and went to visit him at the time of his prayers, while pretending to pay homage to Guru Sahib. In this way, finding Guru Sahib engrossed in meditation, the Pathan took advantage of this opportunity and crossed all limits of treachery. Before the treacherous Pathan could run away, Guru Sahib chopped off his head with his sword. The attack on Guru Sahib with the dagger resulted in a deep wound, which was stitched immediately, and the flow of blood was stopped. Within a few days, when the wound had healed to quite an extent, Guru Sahib once again began to bless the congregation with his holy presence. This Gurdwara, Sachkhand Sri Huzur Sahib, is situated at the very place which was graced by Guru Sahib during his stay at Nanded, and it stands till date as a memorial to the last halting place of Guru Sahib. Here one day, when Guru Sahib was stringing a hard bow, all the stitches of his raw wound broke open on account of too much strain, and he began to bleed profusely. When the bleeding did not stop in spite of all possible efforts made by the Singhs present here, Guru Sahib realized that the eternal truth of nature was imminent, and thus addressed the Singhs, who were overwhelmed with apprehension and grief. One incident of nature which everyone is always afraid of is death, but I have always kept company with it, and instead of feeling daunted by it, I have always faced it fearlessly. Therefore, I expect a similar kind of approach from all of you in the future, because the time of my passing has drawn near. Do not mourn for me in any way after my departure. Rather, you all should cheerfully accept the will of the timeless being and take it as a sweet boon. On hearing these words of Guru Sahib, the agonized wailing Singhs wished to know about a worthy successor who could shoulder the responsibility of the Guruship. So Guru Sahib said, in future, Sri Guru Granth Sahib, the Holy Scripture will be your spiritual and worldly Guru. Instead of any particular person, this spiritual treasure will fulfill the wish of everybody who wishes to be in communion with me. Wherever 5 true and pure Singhs will gather unanimously, following the will of the timeless being, you will feel my presence amongst yourselves. After these spiritual utterances, Guru Sahib performed the ceremony which has been always prevalent at the succession of every Guru. He went around the Adi Granth Sahib, bowed and offered a coconut and 5 paise as a mark of respect. Thus he transferred the Guruship to the Adi Granth Sahib. Then he offered himself to the timeless being at this sacred place and merged his light in the supreme light of God, the Supreme Father, at night on October 7th, 1708.
मेरा मुझ में किछ नहीं, जो किछ है सो तेरा, जो किछ है सो तेरा। मेरा मुझ में किछ नहीं, जो किछ है सो तेरा, जो किछ है सो तेरा। तेरा तुझको सौंपते क्या लागे मेरा, क्या लागे मेरा। मेरा मुझ में किछ नहीं। मैं नाही प्रभ सब किछ तेरा, मैं नाही प्रभ सब किछ तेरा। ए गए निर्गुण हो गए सदगुण, केल करत बिच स्वामी मेरा। तू जीवन तू प्राण आधारा, तुझी पेख पेख मन साधारा। मेरा मुझ में किछ नहीं, जो किछ है सो तेरा, जो किछ है सो तेरा। तेरा तुझको सौंपते क्या लागे मेरा। मेरा मुझ में किछ नहीं। तू साजन तू प्रीतम मेरा, जितना बिसरे काहूं बेरा। तू साजन तू प्रीतम मेरा, जितना बिसरे काहूं बेरा। हाँ किछ नाही सब किछ तेरा, ओत पोत नानक संग बसेरा। मेरा मुझ में किछ नहीं, जो किछ है सो तेरा, जो किछ है सो तेरा। तेरा तुझको किछ नहीं, मेरा मुझ में किछ नहीं, मेरा मुझ में किछ नहीं।
In this way, in the history of mankind, the matchless symbol of martyrdom, Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji, during his lifespan of 42 years, created the Khalsa out of the humble Sikhs of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and after transforming them into formidable fighting lions, produced such a unique community of saint soldiers that not only proves true on every test of humanitarianism, but also continues to follow the path of sacrifices shown by Guru Sahib. The Khalsa is invincible till today and never flinches from making any kind of sacrifice for his religious faith or a worthy cause. Now, if an endeavor is made to carefully examine the history of the Khalsa from the angle of war ethics, it is crystal clear that Guru Sahib through the Khalsa army was never the first to attack or assault anybody. Rather, he fought all the battles in self-defense, responding to the attacks of all the invaders. So much so that he never occupied even an inch of land won after victory against an invader. Perhaps such an example is difficult to find in the history of any other community in the world. If an earnest effort is made to assess from a modern point of view the Sikh religion as propounded by the 10 Guru Sahiban, which has achieved the zenith of spiritual and worldly glory through worship, penance, renunciation and countless sacrifices, then it will have to be accepted that no other religion can be higher than Sikhism in the matter of truthfulness, impartiality and modernity. Though the places of pilgrimage related to all other religions prevalent in the world have their own merits and distinctive characteristics, but a Muslim saint Sai Mian Mir laid the foundation stone of Sri Harmandir Sahib, the central place of worship for the Sikhs. The 4 gates of Sri Harmandir Sahib are a symbol of giving a status of equality to the whole of humanity, along with the 4 major religions of the world: Hinduism, Islam, Sikhism and Christianity. As the Holy Quran enshrines the great divine revelations and profound teachings are contained in the Holy Gita and Ramayana, the Guru Granth Sahib of the Sikhs has incorporated sacred hymns of saints, fakirs and Sufis of all religions. It is the greatest example of true respect and goodwill for all the religions. If we examine it minutely, Sikhism is perhaps the only religion of the world in which all the people sit together in a row and partake of Guru Ka Langar, the community meal. Thus all the people become equal by getting rid of all the distinctions of high and low caste, religious differences and misapprehensions. A religion which not only removes all the differences but also makes humanity transcend all the worldly limitations and shows the path of unity and belief in one God. Such a great religion should not be confined to the limits of a province or a country. It should be made a worldwide, universal religion. Out of the womb of this unique religion was born the unique Sikh community, which in spite of being only 2% of the total population of India, has made 65 to 85% sacrifices in the struggle for independence and the wars fought subsequently with the neighboring countries. The Sikh community, in spite of being only 2% in population, makes the largest contribution in feeding the entire country and has reached the pinnacle of progress in every field in all parts of the world. Such a unique community deserves the maximum respect, honor and courtesy, not jealousy, discrimination and partiality. According to the command issued by Guru Sahib, the doors of every Gurdwara built anywhere in the world always remain open to every person belonging to any religion, caste or creed. Every Sikh bows humbly to Sri Guru Granth Sahib and meditates along with others in its holy presence, remembering all the Guru Sahiban, and eulogizes in his prayers all the martyrs along with those worshippers, ascetics and devotees who underwent penance and sacrificed everything of theirs for their religious faith to keep the honor of Sikhism intact through rivers of their own blood, and still prays for the welfare of mankind.
एक ओंकार श्री वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। श्री भगवती जी सहाय। वार श्री भगवती जी की पातशाही 10वीं। प्रथम भगवती सिमर खे गुरु नानक लई त्याए। फिर अंगद गुरु ते अमरदास रामदासें हुई सहाय। अर्जुन हर गोबिंद नौ सिमरो श्री हर राय। श्री हर कृष्ण ते आइए जिस डिठे सब दुख जाए। तेग बहादुर सिमरिए कर नौ निध आवे ताए। सब थाई होए सहाय। 10वें पातशाह श्री गुरु गोबिंद सिंह साहिब जी सब थाई होए सहाय। 10 पातशाहियां दी जोत श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी दे पाठ दीदार दा ध्यान धर के बोलो जी वाहिगुरु। 5 प्यारियां 4 साहिबजादियां 40 मुक्तियां हठियां जपियां तपियां जिन्ना नाम जपिया वंड छकिया देग चलाई तेग वाही देख के अनडिठ कीता। 3 प्यारियां सचियारियां दी कमाई दा ध्यान धर के खालसा जी बोलो जी वाहिगुरु। जिन्ना सिंघां सिंघणियां ने धर्म हेत सीस दिते बंद बंद कटाए खोपरियां लुआइयां चरखड़ियां ते चढ़े आरियां नाल चराए गए गुरुद्वारियां दी सेवा लई कुर्बानियां कीतियां धर्म नहीं हारिया सिੱਖੀ केसां स्वासां नाल निभाई। 3 दी कमाई दा ध्यान धर के खालसा जी बोलो जी वाहिगुरु। 5 तख्तां सरबत गुरुद्वारियां दा ध्यान धर के बोलो जी वाहिगुरु। प्रथमे सरबत खालसा जी की अरदास है जी। सरबत खालसा जी को वाहिगुरु 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 चितावे। चित आवन का सदका सर्ब सुख होवे। जहाँ जहाँ खालसा जी साहेब तहाँ तहाँ रचिया रियायत। देग तेग फतेह बिरद की पैज पंथ की जीत। श्री साहिब जी सहाय खालसे जी के बोल बाले बोलो जी वाहिगुरु। सिखां नूं सिखी दान केस दान रहत दान विवेक दान विसा दान भरोसा दान दाना सिर दान नाम दान। श्री अमृतसर साहिब जी दे दर्शन इशनान चौकियां चंडे बुंगे जुगो जुग अटल धर्म का जयकार बोलो जी वाहिगुरु। सिखां दा मन नीवा मत उची मत दा राखा आप वाहिगुरु। हे अकाल पुरख अपने पंथ दे सदा सहाई दातार जियो। श्री ननकाना साहिब ते होर गुरुद्वारियां गुरधामां दे जिन्हां तो पंथ नूं विछोड़िया गया है खुले दर्शन दीदार ते सेवा संभाल दा दान खालसा जी नूं बख्शो। हे निमाणियां दे माण निताणियां दे ताण निओटियां दी ओट सच्चे पिता वाहिगुरु आप दे हुजूर सर्ब हित विच अरदास है जी। अखर वादा घाटा भुल चुक माफ करनी सरबत दे कारज रास करने सही प्यारे मेल जिन्ना मिलिया तेरा नाम चितावे।
नानक नाम चढ़दी कला तेरे बाणे सरबत दा भला। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। दोहरा आज्ञा पई अकाल की तबे चलायो पंथ। सब सिखन को हुक्म है गुरु मान्यो ग्रंथ। गुरु ग्रंथ जी मान्यो प्रगट गुरा की दे। जो प्रभु को मिल बोच है खोज शब्द में ले। राज करेगा खालसा आखी रहे न कोई, ख्वार होए सब मिलेंगे बचे शरण जो होए, ख्वार होए सब मिलेंगे बचे शरण जो होए।
बोले सो निहाल।
वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह।
देख शिवा पर मोह है शुभ कर मन ते कबहू न टरो। देख शिवा पर मोह है शुभ कर मन ते कबहू न टरो। शुभ कर मन ते कबहू न टरो। न डरो वर्षों जब जाए रो, निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो। निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो। देख शिवा पर मोहे, देख शिवा पर मोहे। हर्ष हो अपने ही मन को दे, लालच हो गुण को चिरो। जब आपकी और निदान बने अधहीरण में तब जूझ मरो। बोले सो निहाल। देख शिवा पर मोह है शुभ कर मन ते कबहू न टरो। शुभ कर मन ते कबहू न टरो। न डरो वर्षों जब जाए रो, निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो। देख शिवा पर मोहे, देख शिवा पर मोहे। जो तो प्रेम खेल मिखा जाओ, सिर तर तली गली मुड़ी आओ। मार्ग पैर करी जय, सिर दीजे कान न की जय। बोले सो निहाल। देख शिवा पर मोह है शुभ कर मन ते कबहू न टरो। न डरो वर्षों जब जाए रो, निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो। देख शिवा पर मोहे, देख शिवा पर मोहे। सूरा सो पहचानिए जो नए दिन के पुरजा पुरजा कट मरे कब न छा देखे। बोले सो निहाल। मरता मरता जन्मुआ मर भी न जाने कोई, ऐसी मरनी जो मरे बहुत न मरना होए। बोले सो निहाल। देख शिवा पर मोह है शुभ कर मन ते कबहू न टरो। न डरो वर्षों जब जाए रो, निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो। देख शिवा पर मोहे, देख शिवा पर मोहे। देख शिवा पर मोहे, देख शिवा पर मोहे। देख शिवा
मंगल ढिलोन चैनल एक ऐसा चैनल जो आपका जीवन बदल सकता है, जैसे अब तक बहुतों का जीवन बदल चुका है। मंगल ढिलोन चैनल।